If you're not getting the success that you think that you should be getting on YouTube yet, this is the video that you've been waiting for. Give us 15 minutes and it's gonna change your YouTube life. About a year ago, we presented to you our model for the YouTube algorithm, how the algorithm works, and talked a little bit about how you could use that to your advantage. Today, we wanna dive into that deeper. You see, because over the last year, as we've been helping other people with their channels and as we've been building out our own channels, we've been looking at it through this lens, and we just have some new things to share with you. So that's what we're gonna go into today. This is a high-level overview of how the majority of the YouTube algorithm works.
Guys, there's so much that goes into the YouTube algorithm, and this is just a piece of it. We're going to break it down for you so that it's just easy enough to understand, so that by the time you're done with this video, you're gonna walk away knowing what you need to do with your channel to just improve and actually get some success.
So let's walk through a little bit of what this means, how it works, define a few terms so that it's easy for you to follow. First of all, it looks like a target. Really, we've got 3 concentric circles, and what this represents is just all of the topics on YouTube. And really what we've got here is 3 rings, mostly because we wanted to show that there's a separation from the outside to the inside. You see here where we said broad and specific? This is about the topic of the video. The broader the topic is, the broader the appeal, the less people have to know about the topic for your video to appeal to them or for it to even be relevant. So this would be something like entertainment heavy channels fall way up here. You don't have to be searching for anything specific to be interested in that video. Meanwhile, down here, we could be talking about how to change out the O2 sensor on a 1993 Mustang. That's a pretty specific thing that somebody's looking for. And so you have to know a lot about that topic before that video has any relevance at all.
Okay, something really quick that I wanna say. So this is flat, right? We're looking at this 2D model here, but you really have to think of it as almost like a globe, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't perfectly represent how topics are on YouTube because according to this, there's only 2 adjacent topics to your topic specifically. But we all know that's not true. There are probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of adjacent topics.
And so that's what these wedges are. But each web represents kind of a topic. We can get as broad or as granular as you want with a wedge. And so that's where we can apply this model. We can be pretty specific. Let me give you an example. If I could say that the topic of our channel is off-roading and say that that's a wedge. But realistically, it's like, well, I have content about ATVs and I have content about dirt bikes and I have content about e-bikes. But also within my ATV content, I have kind of more entertaining videos, but I also have videos about how to do modifications and I have videos about financing an ATV. And so we could put mods and financing and stuff. We could make mini wedges out of each of those. Don't overthink it. It's not that big of a deal. Just look at the topic of your channel as kind of a wedge and just think about kind of how tight we're gonna stay.
Okay, let's define a term here, channel lens. All right, so we're gonna do,
blue.
yes,
we'll use
blue.
The blue marker.
Yes, so we're gonna be drawing up some circles here on our little diagram. And channel lens represents what you are shooting for with your channel, what you think your channel is about, what you think your videos are about, everything that is your perception of your channel.
The next one is the audience profile. We're gonna use red. This is what YouTube thinks your channel is about. It's probably not gonna match your channel lens. And that's one of the problems that a lot of people are running into, which is why their videos are not spreading. We'll also use a couple of other markers to represent individual videos, as well as individual people within an audience.
As we go through some of these examples, as we talk about different sizes and types of channels, this is all gonna start to make a ton more sense. I think it's time to get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So here is how it works. Let's say you have a brand new YouTube channel and you start putting out a couple of videos. You have your topic, we're gonna say it's this one right here, and you make your first video, and it's about some aspect of your topic, and it's maybe kind of a medium appeal topic. It's not something that literally anybody on YouTube could watch and find it appealing, but it's also not something like really specific like we talked about before. And so maybe it falls around right here. There's a specific video that you made. The next video that you make is on the same topic. The difference is that it's pretty specific. It's a tutorial. It's, how to do something pretty specific within that niche. Let's say it's topically very, very close to the first one, but it's down here. The next video you make, you think, oh, I want to do something a little bit, maybe it could go viral. So I'm going to stay on the exact same topic, but this time I'm gonna make a video that is just really entertaining. I'm gonna go all out on my cinematography, and it's gonna be way out here, very broad appeal. Your next video, you're like, well, I've kind of exhausted that topic. Nobody's watching my videos yet, because I've only made 3. So I'm gonna stay on the same topic, but I'm gonna cover like something pretty different, but it's within the same topic, so it's way over here, right? And over time, as you make more videos, you're kind of doing this stuff. Now, what's going on when your channel is brand new is YouTube has no idea who your audience is. Your channel lens, what you're trying to create is this. That's your whole channel lens, and it's pretty big. It's probably too big. And YouTube doesn't really know quite what's going on here. And so what they do is with every video, they're gonna experiment with people based on the topic, based on the kind of videos that other people watch. And so when they find videos that seem kind of similar to yours, they're gonna try to show your videos to the people that watch those other videos that are similar to yours. But they're gonna do it pretty conservatively. They're not gonna wanna like show it to everybody that watches those other videos because they just don't know how it's gonna do. You made this video, this person watches it, cool. Now, this same person, they also watch a video right here, and they watch another video right here, and maybe one right here. Different channels, all different topics. Well, that's cool. That person likes all those other different things. So maybe YouTube says, well, let's try that video on another person that also watched this video. And they do, and that person doesn't click on it. So they say, okay, well, we'll try it one more time. And they do to another person that watches that same video, and they also don't click on it. They're like, okay, well, there's not a correlation between that video and this video. Maybe let's try it with that one. You can see where I'm going here. There's a lot of experimentation that happens for YouTube to figure out what your channel is about. And if they start to have success with one of your videos and it starts to get viewed by people, they're gonna start to finally figure out what an audience profile should look like, but they're not gonna have that kind of success with all of your videos. So you've got this big channel lens, but YouTube's like, I think the channel audience profile is that. That's what it should be. People who regularly watch videos that correlate well with that little segment, that's who we're gonna show it to.
Okay, this right here is why small creators think that YouTube hates them.
Yeah.
We as small creators, like when we're just starting a YouTube channel, like all of these dots representing videos, we only have 2, 3, maybe 10 videos out there, and they're probably a little bit all over the place.
Right.
Well, YouTube just has to do their best to figure out who your audience is, and they're going to start small. And so many of the videos you create as a small creator will just fall outside of what YouTube thinks your audience profile is. And so it's not that YouTube hates you, it's just like what Ricky said, they're testing very conservatively and they're starting small. And so what do you do to overcome this? You really just keep publishing, but you want to stay kind of centered. You want to stay kind of focused on some of these topics that you originally created on. And we've actually seen some really cool recent success with this.
Absolutely. So I've been working on a brand new channel for my project Double Time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we've got some other videos that talk about this. But on a brand new channel that I haven't told you what it is yet, and I will eventually, I published 30 videos in 30 days. And it was a ton of work. But it was really cool. For the first few days, basically nothing. YouTube showed my videos to a few different people, and that was it. And I tried a few things. I did a few shorts and stuff because those YouTube will experiment a little faster with those, but nothing massive. But then I started to have a video that got a little bit more traction, and YouTube was like, here's one, and they got some data around that video, and they figured out maybe here's an audience profile. So when the next video came out, they're like, okay, well, let's test it on those people. And every subsequent video started to get viewed by more and more people. And as that happens, they get more data. I didn't go all over the place. My videos are more like that.
Much closer together.
Right? And so they try the next video with that audience, and they're like, oh, well, that worked. Maybe the audience profile's a little bit more like that. And then the next video goes out and they're like, oh, maybe it's a little bit more like that. And it keeps expanding the audience profile. And the more that audience profile expands, the more success I'm gonna have with all of these other videos I made on my channel. So advice number 1 for a new channel or a small channel, you might have been doing this for a long time but not found the success you want. It's to define your channel lens. Don't just do whatever and end up with the channel lens that just happens to happen based on the content that you make.
That's why some creators literally take years. And you may be in that boat. It's because if you just go all over the place, YouTube takes a long time to figure it out. But if you stay focused on a smaller portion of your topic, YouTube was gonna figure out so much faster.
If you say, my channel lens is gonna be, I'm gonna cross topics a little bit, but here's my channel lens, then when you make that video, this brown one that's kind of in the middle of that lens, and it doesn't do that well, okay, that's fine. Well, I'll try one here, and I'll try one here. And finally, one of these takes off, right? And YouTube gets people watching it. And so you're starting to get views on this one. Lots of persons watching your video here, right? That's awesome. Well, now YouTube's like, awesome, now we have an understanding of what this channel's about, and they build this little audience profile here that over time will start to fill more of your channel lens. The thing is that over time, you may end up with an audience profile that doesn't quite match what you think it's supposed to be. This is one of the big explanations for why sometimes you create a video that you think is a perfect fit. Like, awesome, well, I'm gonna make this video right here. That's outside of the audience profile YouTube has for you. And so YouTube doesn't know who to show it to. It tries it with your normal audience, and some of your audience, see this part where it overlaps like a Venn diagram? Part of your audience really liked it. But there's this big part of who your audience is that maybe you didn't even realize was part of your audience, that they don't have any interest in that video, so they don't watch it, and it doesn't spread as far. So the better that you can define your channel lens and grow the audience profile to fill your whole lens and potentially expand beyond that, that's what's gonna help make more and more of your videos more successful.
All right, in last year's video, one of the big questions we got in the comments was, what about viral videos? There are a lot of small creators who work for month after month, maybe year after year, and they don't have very many successful videos, but they'll have one just take off. Well, what about that? Because I think that this is really cool, but I would be interested to see, like, maybe we could show them, how does that apply?
You have this channel, maybe your channel lens isn't very well defined. So you do make this video way out here. And let's say that YouTube guesses right. They show it to somebody, they really liked it. They show it to the next person, they really liked it. The algorithms do their thing. And suddenly this video just blows up and you're just getting millions and millions and millions of little X's, right? People, individual people watching that video. Well, now YouTube says, okay, if we look at all the views across this channel, they're very heavily weighted toward that video. So they say, well, okay, here's the audience profile. The problem is that all the rest of the videos on your channel are here. And so now, if any of these people that watched your viral video go check out your channel before subscribing, they're like, oh, well, none of the rest of this is really for me, because I don't really care about 93 Mustangs. I don't have one of those. But that cool racing video, that was awesome. See that, how different those are? Like very broad appeal, very specific. And even some of these, okay, maybe I'll stick around and watch some of those. That person who checks out the channel, they probably just don't even subscribe. The people who do subscribe from watching the viral video, because they're like, that was awesome. They subscribe, but they don't watch your other content. And so the audience profile stays right here and you end up with a bunch of dead subscribers who don't watch your other content. And so when you publish your next video, and that next video is somewhere in here, YouTube tries to show it to all these people, and those people don't care. So that video just dies. In fact, we have seen over and over and over and over and over again from people that they have one video go viral and their channel just plateaus. Also, it's hard to replicate that because I drew that circle a little bit wrong. YouTube knows that that video went really well, but they don't know really who the audience profile is, so it might end up actually being this. And so when you make your next viral video and you make it right here, YouTube's not showing it to the right people. Having a video go viral when your channel is not intended to be that type of channel can actually do a lot more harm than good. And this is why. It's because now you've just confused the YouTube algorithm.
And I think it's important to make the distinction between a viral video and one that just does exceptionally well for your channel.
Right.
And maybe we can erase and then show that, because I think it's important to know, like, when you do a viral video, like you said, it's gonna confuse the algorithm, your audience profile is gonna be messed up, and then your videos aren't gonna be shown as you continue to create. But with a video that just does exceptionally well, it's still close enough to your other videos that your videos in the future will continue to do well. And I think it's really important to frame, as we talk through all of these different scenarios, it's important to know what growth and success actually is and what it looks like.
Yeah, we keep saying like a successful video or an unsuccessful video. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, if you're a channel and your baseline views are 500 per video, then a successful video would be like 600 views baseline, or maybe
Right.
700. Like, it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to get a 10,000 view video for it to be successful. Generally speaking, I think success is just growth in an upward direction. Day over day, week over week, month over month, you're getting more views than you did before.
Yeah, and one thing we need to keep in mind is that the YouTube algorithm is generally going to make it stay that way. So here's what I mean by that. On a channel that we started a few years ago, we had several videos that we published that they did well in the beginning, but well for, again, a brand new channel. We're talking about hundreds of views in the first month, maybe. Some of those videos today on that channel, the channel that's been around for over a few years now, that has videos with millions of views on it. The top 20 videos on that channel, at least half of them were made in the first 6 months of that channel's existence. So you can make a video that has the potential to do incredibly well, like hundreds of thousands or millions of views, and you can put it on a brand new channel and it won't do that well in the very beginning until YouTube figures out the audience. Those videos, as long as the content is evergreen, meaning it's still relevant later, YouTube will continue to promote that video over time. And many of those videos now have hundreds of thousands or millions of views on them. Videos that were some of the very first. We're talking like the first 5 to 10 videos on that channel.
Okay, now just a minute ago I said that we would show an example of what just a very good video for your channel looks like that's not necessarily explosive or viral. So maybe let's show that really quick.
Yeah.
And then there's something that we really need to talk about, and it's been on the board the whole time, and before we move on to other sizes of channels, we need to kind of give it a little bit of airtime.
So first of all, in order for video to be really successful, the channel lens isn't what determines the success. The channel lens is where you're focusing your energy. But what determines whether or not a video succeeds is whether or not your video fits an audience profile that YouTube understands, and that audience profile has an audience. Like, there's enough people on YouTube who fit your audience profile, which is why we want to grow the audience profile over time. So if your audience profile looks like this right now, and you make a video that does well, it fits within that audience profile, it's going to tend to spread more. So what that looks like is people watch this video, and some of those people are the same people that watch this video on this other channel, and this video on this other channel, and this video on this other channel. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but it turns out that this is person number 1. Person number 2 that watches this video also watches this video, or ones very similar to it, ones that YouTube has found correlate to it. They don't watch this one, but they watch ones like this. And then there's a third person that watches this video, and this one, and this video over here, and maybe this video here. You see what's going on? YouTube is figuring out what other videos on YouTube correlate to yours. And if this channel is already more established and has a bigger audience, then YouTube can take the audience profiles from these videos and it can start showing those people your video and use that to grow your audience profile. That is what happens when we get a successful video, is it takes your audience profile, makes it bigger, and gives YouTube substantially more data to work with, so every video going forward does better.
Yeah, we talk a lot in the office, some of the language we use is like, you have a base hit video, right?
Right.
It performs well with YouTube's understanding of what your audience is. And then since that happened, YouTube starts to identify these other audiences that it works well with.
Okay, but once again, we need to come back to this. This is one of the, I think, the best tools for channels who are struggling.
This is one that we did not talk about at all last year. And I think that this is so big for small channels. We've seen it time and time again. When YouTube is struggling to identify who your audience is, this can be the key to unlock, or to at least help YouTube get a head start on that process.
We talked about in the very beginning, YouTube is having to experiment, and they're doing it conservatively. And when we say that, we're talking about the majority of the YouTube algorithms. They have several. We're talking about the suggested videos, the up next, all of those recommendations, the homepage, all of that. Videos on new channels, they're gonna show up just pretty conservatively. With search, YouTube's just trying to find the video that seems to be the best fit for what somebody typed into search. And YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the planet, and YouTube videos regularly show up in the #1 biggest search engine on the planet, Google. So when we make a video that directly also answers something that people are likely to search on the internet, our videos get shown no matter how small our channel is. Whenever you see a channel that's got a video with 300,000 views, but like 1,000 subscribers, sometimes it's because they made a viral video, but sometimes you look at that and say, there's no way that video went viral. It's because they made a video that answers a question that a lot of people have. And so search can make it really easy for you to pair your content to an audience that's looking for that kind of information, and it gives YouTube quicker, earlier data. So that's why search can be so powerful. We'll have to make more content. We talk about this a lot in Project 24. We'll have to make more content about how you can actively use search to be able to feed this information to YouTube and get early views to your channel.
I think it's also important to realize, like, there's a lot of people on YouTube who say that search is just not that great of a way to grow an audience. And that may be true as you get bigger. But the reality is, even though search makes up a small percentage of overall views on YouTube, as a small creator, it is one of the best ways to be shown.
When you make a brand new website, getting your content to show up on search on Google can take months. On YouTube, even on a brand new channel, it can be up within a day, actually ranking for specific search terms. It's the high level overview of how we can succeed on search. Okay, so we're gonna jump into not just brand new channels. We're gonna talk a little bit about large channels, those big viral channels, those really heavy entertainment channels that we see a lot. But before we do, we need to address what I would consider to be an elephant in the room. And that is that the YouTube algorithm is not just based on video topics and how broad or specific they are, like broad appeal versus specific. That's a piece of it. But there's so many other things at play that impact, I would almost say, like your slice or your wedge. And some of those we address here in our factors. There are many, many channels on YouTube that cover similar topics, but they just have a completely different feel to them. Some of them, like, they just appeal to very different audiences. You would almost consider them different wedges, even though they're on the same topic. So tone and personality are huge factors. Likewise, you can be in a great topic that there's a huge audience that wants that kind of information, but your titles aren't very engaging, your thumbnails aren't very eye-catching, so people don't click on them. And when YouTube does show your videos, nobody's really engaging with them. They don't watch very long, or they don't click the like button, or they don't comment. If your numbers are lower than they should be for your topic, it's not gonna do that well. I have tags listed here. Tags is one that some people ask about, and YouTube specifically says they use tags to correct spelling in their auto captions.
If you look in the Google Doc, or in the support document.
We don't use these for SEO, for helping YouTube know what your video is about. YouTube's already transcribing and indexing all of the information from your video. But the way that people engage with it, if people don't click on your video, chances are the title and thumbnail were off base. If people don't continue watching, chances are that your pace was not right, the tone, the personality, there's a lot of those other factors.
Okay, before we move on, I just have to say, like, guys, this stuff is so important. This could literally be what's holding your channel back. Not completely understanding this could literally be keeping you from getting the views that your videos most likely are so close to deserving. So there's a couple things that it could be. Like, you need to identify, is this an audience issue? Like, all of these things that we've mentioned, all of these different scenarios we've given, is that where you're struggling? Or are you struggling with some of these other factors? Are your titles and thumbnails just a little off base? Are you struggling to get that engagement? Is your tone, maybe you're thinking you're going for one audience, but your tone is really telling YouTube it's another audience. Guys, just take this stuff to heart. Figure out what it is for you on your channel. I know that we've covered a lot here, and it could seem a little overwhelming, but honestly, all of these factors are really important, but there's probably just a few that you might be missing.
And really, the easy way to tell if it's this or this. If YouTube isn't even really showing your videos to very many people, still, you've published a bunch. First of all, if you haven't published like at least 20 videos, you probably just need to keep publishing. You don't have enough data, and neither does YouTube, to figure out what's going on yet. Chances are you just gotta keep growing. If you've published a lot more than that though, and your videos are just not getting very many impressions, it's, your click-through rate looks fine. YouTube just won't show my videos because they hate small creators. If that's the feeling that you're having, chances are your issue is here. It's not clear to YouTube who your audience is, and so and maybe you've created a channel lens that's too broad, or maybe you've created one that's too small. And so really the audience profile for your channel lens is appropriate, because you've just pigeonholed yourself into something tiny. So consider that. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're getting plenty of impressions but your click-through rates are really low, title and thumbnail. If you're getting a perfectly fine click-through rate and YouTube's showing your videos a bit, there's a good chance that there's an issue here with engagement. People aren't watching enough of the video. And the reason they're not watching enough, or they're not liking and commenting and subscribing and all that stuff, could be tone, could be personality, could be pacing, could be all of those other factors that we all talk about on these YouTube channels all the time. That's really what the rest of this is about. If you figure out where the problem is, then we can start to address how to fix it.
All right, guys, let's talk about some bigger channels now. I think this model is really helpful for small creators, but also for large creators alike. Like even as we were using this model to talk about viral channels, huge viral channels, it all still made a ton of sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of times we'll get the question, does this really apply to like really big viral entertainment channels? Because they don't even really have a topic a lot of the time. You know, Mr. Beast makes videos, you know, with challenges about staying in a car, or he makes videos where he's running from the FBI. When you talk about like what the challenge is about, it's like his channel is not about cars. His channel is about challenges. That's what it is. That's the topic. And so you might think that he's all over the board here, but he's not. He's got a reasonably narrow band and he sticks to it. Side note, he says it took him years of publishing on YouTube before he really figured it out. That's perfectly normal. A lot of people just want their first video to go viral and they put everything into that first video, and sometimes it happens. It's just really, really, really uncommon. Mark Rober, I would say the same thing. I really love Mark's videos. I love his channel. My kids watch him. We just have a great time with him. Mark's channel is not about squirrels and it's not about glitter. It's not even a pranks channel. It's a channel about engineering cool stuff to solve a problem. Now, he's made videos in the past about like the size of the solar system, and that doesn't quite seem to fit. And that video did pretty well because it was pretty cool, but notice that's not the videos he makes now. That was one of his earlier videos. It's done well over time, but once he like really set in with like the glitter bomb and stuff, and with his mechanical engineering background, that's like his happy place. He's just gone all in on that, and it does incredibly well. So what does this look like for viral channels, big channels? It looks very similar, except they make their videos close together, each one slightly different, right? But they're all close together. They have a channel lens that is tight, right? It makes it really obvious to YouTube what they're doing, but each one has unique value. It makes it really clear to YouTube who the audience profile is. And the thing is, this audience profile maybe doesn't look huge, but really the number of people in that circle is enormous because the appeal is so broad. The reason this is drawn as a circle is that the further out you go, the wider it gets in any topic. And that's why it's such a big audience profile, such a big circle. It's because the appeal is so widespread.
YouTube knows who the audience is.
Right.
And at this point for Mr. Beast, really the audience is all
everyone.
of YouTube. It's like he's gonna show up on, you know, everybody's homepage, all their recommended, because YouTube knows that his videos, while they are very specific, they are wide appeal and nearly everyone will watch them.
That's the only difference. They're doing the same thing. They're just further out here. That is not the ideal channel for everyone. It's what some of these people have chosen to do, and it's working well for them. And there's a lot of money to be made on channels that are all the way on in the inside circle, as well as anywhere in the middle. So you just need to pick where you want to be, define what your channel lens is going to look like, and make videos within that lens so that YouTube knows who you're trying to target and can pair you up with the right people.
I think what you just said is one of the coolest things, because over probably the past 10 years, everybody who doesn't know much about YouTube, probably not you guys watching, but anyone who doesn't know much about YouTube thinks you have to be this
is what you have to be.
make money on YouTube. But the reality is you can be a creator here and have much more specific, you know, interest or audience and still do so well. And I think that that's one of the, like, maybe the cool secrets about YouTube. You know, it's getting wider, more people understand now, but it's still awesome how successful you can be even with a smaller channel.
Just pick your channel lens. It doesn't really matter where it is, as long as you can help YouTube understand what it is and grow an audience profile that fits it.